chapter clicked in to College Volleyball Weekly on Viral Volley Media. Now here's your host, Rob on mic.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to College Volleyball Weekly Beach Top 20. And we are in a week 4 recap. And a familiar face is back on the screen, Kelly Belardi of Stanford. Always have a fun time when she's on screen, but also an excellent time watching her play wherever she's at, from the ones all the way to the fives. So she ends up there. So, Kelly, great to have you back on.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back.
Well, I know that you are such a high volley IQer when it comes to all this. So I'm looking forward to your thoughts on. We've seen this last week, particularly in the top 20. And I think we talked about going from looking at the 20 through 11 in the AVCA poll. And I believe it's a recent poll. But any results catch you this last week in that 20 through 11 range?
Yeah, I think one of the main teams that stood out to me, what we were kind of talking about before this, was Texas. I knew they had a lot of depth, and Stein obviously was going to get that program going. But for them to finally see some results and see results in the competition field, because this is their first year competing, I think is super good to see how that program's developing. And just from pairwise, they lost 3-2 to LMU. LMU is one of the best teams now, so I think that's super good for them. And then they upset Cal, which we played Cal last weekend and we beat them 3-2. So they're a really good
A nail
team.
biter, by the way.
Yeah, we were the
It did come
last.
down to your court.
It did come down to our court. Of course it did. I feel like it's always coming down to my court. But Cal's a really good team. So I was really good for us to beat them. And then for Texas to come out and beat them, that's awesome for them and their ranking in the program. So honestly, they were the team that I was most impressed with this past weekend.
Yeah, without a doubt. And they are getting better each weekend as we expected. And they've got their Ava Kuivinen at the ones with, oh my gosh, I'm
Chloe, Chloe
Chloe.
Charles.
Yes, Chloe Charles. And they were impressive all weekend. And have to keep in mind who they played at East versus West all weekend. Maggie Boyd, Sally Perez,
Yeah.
Michelle Schaefer, and Valma Preety. It was just a tough go, but they were hanging in the battle, which was
Yeah.
pretty good to see.
Totally. They were awesome. I was looking at the scores of Texas versus UCLA and I saw the ones Maggie and Sally pulled it out, I think 16-14 in the third, which I feel like they love to do. Recently they've been going to three all the time and they end up pulling it out. So it's super awesome for them. But I've known Chloe for a while just because we grew up doing high performance together. So seeing her on the ones and doing so well, I was super happy for her and I think she deserves that. I feel like all of the Texas girls are probably excited to be out finally competing because they've been playing beach volleyball their whole life, and then I know they had to take last year off, so they're probably just excited to come out and compete. So it's nice for them to see some results.
Well, we know they're shuffling the lineup around a bit, and their twos also had some big wins. And that was a former Bruin, Katie Hashman, and she was paired up. Oh my gosh, drawing blanks. Emma Grace Robertson, the transfer from FAU, and another strong pair. They came up
Yeah.
big in the clutch as well in Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, that's yeah, Katie, I feel like has been around beach volleyball for a while. Same with Emma, because yeah, both of them transferred to Texas. So I feel like also they're just excited to represent Texas. That's where a lot of them are from. Right? They all I feel like always had wanted to go to Texas. So I feel like they kind of knew when that program was getting big that they were gonna end up there. But I don't know, it's super cool to see. I'm happy for them. But they're
I
definitely
didn't want to.
out
Oh,
for.
go ahead. Yep. I didn't want to catch you off guard, so to speak, but one of the teams that was as at 16 were the Ospreys of North Florida. They are 13-1 on the season.
Oh
Not
wow.
really big wins, but you have to respect the record at this point, 4 weeks in.
Totally. I didn't even know that that was their who is their one loss, do you know?
I do not know off the top of my head. I could look that up here. Um, but I was really shocked because when I was looking at the top pairs in the nation, they haven't lost too many dual points.
Wow.
So they're doing pretty good.
Good for them. Is that FAU? I'm getting them confused with FIU. Is that Ashley Adams? Is she on FAU ones or
She's
two?
FAU, but
Yeah.
Northern Florida,
Oh yeah,
let's
North
see,
Florida.
let's see here. Let's pull them up here, and we will take a peek at their roster here if they
Okay.
have it updated, which has been the issue this year. Is like a lot of the information is getting put out too quickly.
Yeah, that's frustrating for sure.
So let's see who their one loss was to here. Uh, it was against Stetson, number 20 Stetson.
Oh wow. Good for
But
Stetson.
but Stetson's had some losses as
Yeah.
well that have kept them back in the top 20.
Yeah.
So, but they did beat number 14 FIU, which is what has kept Northern Florida up there as well. So,
Got
um,
it.
but you always have to pay attention to the teams that are either undefeated or have one loss going this deep. Well, it's not deep. We're nearing the halfway point of the
Yeah.
Collegiate Beach season.
Which is crazy. I can't believe we're already halfway through, but totally, that's like a really good record for them. I wonder, it'll be interesting to see who they play next, like if they have any top matchups coming up, but definitely a team to look out for considering that's their record.
Well, they have the ASUN midseason tournament. Austin P, North Alabama, Central Arkansas are there, and Eastern Kentucky. So, but this is what's going to be the big one. And actually, I'll be working that one as well. It's the best in the West. And I think I'll be seeing you. I didn't get to tell you that before we came on, but
Oh,
they'll
awesome.
be facing off against LMU and you. So you can learn firsthand.
Yes. I'm excited for that. Is that in Long Beach? Laguna?
That's in Laguna Beach, Main
Laguna?
Beach, Laguna
Okay.
Beach, and um, 10 of the top teams in the nation will be there.
Wow, that's good. I'm excited for
Yeah,
that.
that's so fun. You don't even know you're going to be in two
I don't
weeks.
even know. I literally have to take it once. One, all I know is the next time we play will be in LSU. It's like all I know. One week at a time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any other teams in the 20 through 11 range catch your eye?
I'm trying to think. I feel like um GCU when they came here, they're 14th right now, but we played them last weekend. They were at the tournament with like it was us, USC, UCLA, Cal. And I was really impressed with them. I feel like last year they kind of I think my freshman year, so 2 years ago, they were always like a team to look out for. We upset
Hmm.
them in at NCAA's, but they were like a team consistently in the top 10. And then I think last year they kind of fell off a little bit, lost their coach, probably were regrouping after that. But then seeing them recently this past weekend, I thought they were really good, super scrappy. They have some hard hitters. So I think they're a team to look out for sure.
Yeah, they I believe it's Corinne Garrow and her partner were a pair of the
Yeah.
week the first week.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not remembering her partner's name off the top of my head, but Abra Rummel ended up taking over the program, who was the assistant to Kristen. I forgot her married name, but Kristen Rohr, who went to
Yeah.
ASU. So there was a little transition, but even talking to Abra last year, she's like, yeah, we're going to take our bumps, but
Yeah.
you knew they're going to turn it around because they also had some transfers as well. So,
Yeah. Honestly, it's been interesting seeing like the impact transfers this year because I feel like for indoor, transferring is such a big thing and like you notice it a lot. And then for beach, I feel like it wasn't as much of a thing until recent years. Like USC, I feel like got a lot of transfers, GCU, like all the
mhm.
international girls as well. I think it's bringing like so many more people to beach volleyball, which is creating like a lot of parity in all that. Like it's so much harder to win um consistently. Like it makes all the teams more equal, which I think has been cool to see, and people being able to like play if they weren't happy with their other program and like really do well at the program they transfer to. I feel like that's a lot of the case, and they do super well. Like
Yeah.
what I think of is Arden Biesecker. She was at Florida State her freshman year,
Mhm.
transferred to ASU, was on the twos last year. She's in the lineup this year, doing really well. So it's like so cool to see how people like can transfer, find the program that fits for them, and then end up doing super well.
Yeah, yeah, without doubt. There are like to your point about the international transfers. I mean,
Yeah.
just this last week and seeing the shuffle of where players ended up, and there's a lot of solid talent on the rosters of the top 10 teams.
Totally. Like all across the board. I feel like there's so many teams I could think of that are like maybe at fours, fives, that could be like a ones at another program. Or even like I noticed it with our team, like when we were in preseason and then like going into like, okay, what are the pairings gonna be for actually when we start competing, it's like I feel like they could go anywhere and like our fours would beat our ones or our twos would beat our three, like twos would be our threes, and there's so much talent and depth in so many programs, which is awesome about how much shuffling. Like a team that I noticed does it a lot is like USC. I never know who I'm gonna play ever. Like I play a new yet USC team. I'm like consistently on the threes at least this year, and I've played a new team every time.
Right.
So it's cool to see the depth.
You've seen USC
Twice,
once, twice
twice.
already, and you'll see them again at Best in the West, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. So maybe I'll play a new team again. Probably will.
Now, does your schedule allow? Maybe we're jumping too far ahead, but there's a late season MPSF tournament, isn't there? Like there used to be, well, it used to be Pac-12 South, Pac-12
Yeah,
North. Is
yeah.
there?
I think
Was it?
there's the one we just had at Stanford was like MPSF something, I don't know. And then when we
It's
go
a
to Laguna,
mid-season Rumble.
yeah,
Love the name.
mid-season bowl. And then when we go to Laguna, we go there twice. So I think the second time it'll probably be all MPSF teams, I assume.
Well, I'm on a USC site, so it looks like let's go down the schedule here. You're definitely in Laguna at Best in the West. Oh wait, you don't see them at Death Valley, but
No.
you will see them in Laguna at Best in the West, and then the Center of Effort Challenge in
Oh,
at
yeah.
Cal Poly.
Yeah. I'm excited for that because we didn't go to that last year. So or I don't know if we're going this year.
No, you are
We
in it.
are for sure.
Florida State, Cal Poly, you guys, and SC.
That'll be fun. Yeah. I remember seeing that tournament last year and I was like, why are we not there? Like I'd love to play this team. So that'll be another great tournament to play, see all those teams as we get prepared for the NCAAs. It's crazy. I feel like this year there's obviously teams that have like stuck in the top five or like UCLA and LMU are kind of going back and forth with the ones and twos. But honestly, I feel like this year anyone could take it.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. Well, actually, I wanted to talk about LSU because standard Russell Brock coaching, a bunch of players who are new to the game or from not very renowned areas, he coaches them up because
Yeah.
I feel like they're on the verge because they're pressing teams. Like you're seeing 4-1 losses, 3-2 losses, but his teams are always grinding
Yeah.
and nothing is given to you. Like you cannot
Um,
take them for granted at all.
Totally. No, I agree. I mean, whenever I think of LSU, I think about last year when we lost to them at NCAAs, which is a team we had beaten them previously, I think twice last year, and then we lost them at NCAAs. And so I think that shows a lot of like Russell, I know is such a good coach, and I feel like I did some HP with him growing up. I always knew he was like a good coach, and then seeing how he literally transforms his players. Like there's indoor girls, there's people who maybe like weren't the
Mhm.
top recruits, and he's able to show them how to play beach volleyball. And it's honestly like a really good system because they're kind of new to the game and people aren't used to seeing them or their style of play, and he's able to like transform them into like super awesome
Mhm.
players. I feel like another coach that does that is Cal Poly's coach, Todd Rogers.
Yep.
Um, he like they get really good recruits, obviously, but I feel like sometimes they're not like, oh, people are like talking about them all the time. But the way he coaches them and how much better they get throughout the year is something that I think is like super remarkable about that program, considering like Cal Poly 2, 3 years ago was nowhere near where they are now. And the development that has been shown through those players is super cool. And I feel like that goes to all the coaching that and work that he's put into developing them.
Yep. Well, we'll talk more about Cal Poly when we go into the top 10 here. But one player I wanted to recognize, and it's funny, I ended up talking to Russell and I said, how do you do it? He's like, you know what? I just, we have a great team culture. I go, do you ever have anyone that's there for 4 years? And he had to stop and think. And he goes, well, I do have one this year. I can remember off the top of my head. And she actually is pretty remarkable. I believe she's from Scottsdale, Arizona, or somewhere in Arizona. Elle Evers. She's playing at the fours or threes. I'm getting all my courts mixed up from this weekend, but I think she's could be the next big thing at LSU.
Oh.
So
Is she a
uh,
big? Is she a blocker or a
she's a
defender?
blocker. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, he's good with the blockers. I remember I don't know, I'm forgetting her name, but the blocker I played last year, like I think she played indoor and I'd never seen her on the beach before and she was really good, like touching everything. She was super tall. So I think he's really good with developing those players. So I mean, 4 years at LSU, I'm assuming she's really good at this point.
Yep. Well, there's other stuff NCAA wise. You gotta hope doesn't happen between roster sizes, portals, and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's a whole other episode. So
Yeah, totally.
there's a big decision, I guess, that's coming up next week in regards to roster size.
Yeah. I think they're gonna end up cutting it for sure. I mean, I don't know, but from what I've been hearing, I think they're gonna end up cutting it, which would be really hard on a lot of programs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you have to cut down to 19. It is.
Yeah, either 19 or 18 maybe. I don't know the specifics behind it though, because I know it's like if they're giving more money to beach volleyball, so it's like more people would get scholarship money, I'm assuming, but then like less people would be on the actual roster. So I don't know if there's a way maybe that coaches could get around it where it's like you still have these players that can practice with you, but maybe they're not on the official roster.
Mhm.
So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. It's sad though, but I guess it has to
Yeah.
happen.
Well, let's go to the top 10. And Arizona State, we talked about them, but they're idle this week. So, uh,
Yeah.
but they're going to be up at East meets West in Texas. So they're going to be seeing number nine, well, was number 19 FIU, number 20 Georgia State, number 11 LSU, and host Texas, which my numbers are off on, but I believe Texas is now at number 10.
Yeah.
So they moved up two this week, and you know, Texas, that tournament, first time ever. It's their version of East versus West from this last weekend.
Yeah. I mean, that'll be a great tournament, I feel like, for all those teams, ASU, Texas, what was the other team? LSU. I'm excited to see because they're all like really close in ranking. So I'll be interesting to see how that goes. Arizona State, though, I feel like a really consistent program, at least ever since Kristen became the head coach. I feel like they're always a
Hmm.
team to be a force to be reckoned with. So I'm excited to see how that goes. We played them in Hawaii. Yeah, we played them in Hawaii, and we
Uh-huh.
already beat them. But I think a lot of games went to three. So they're a good team, scrappy, consistent. So yeah.
Yep. So Arizona State, definitely put them on your watch list. But that brings us to teams like Florida State, Long Beach State. What do you want to jump on first, Kelly?
Yeah, I honestly haven't heard much about Florida State this season. I guess I just haven't been keeping up with them, honestly, but they're always a team that's up there. Long Beach State, their ones, Malia and Taylor, great ones team. I feel like pretty consistent win for them a lot of the times. I see they beat Arizona 4-1. Um, yeah, I feel like another team that has a lot of depth in their roster, like some girls that are playing at the fours, I think could be higher, which just shows that this program is get good and getting better. Also, Skylar, German, I didn't know she was back.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Well, she's
that.
back yeah, last season, but I don't think she played a whole bunch last season for
Yeah,
whatever reason.
I
So
don't know, but she's on like the twos now, maybe I think, with someone, and they're doing really well. Last time I checked, so that's good for them. I feel like also to have some maturity on the roster helps a lot. Experience for sure.
she's fiery and a big jumper too.
Yeah,
Very
so
vocal in a good way.
good.
Skylar,
Good.
love watching you play. Don't take me wrong. Um, yeah, I wanted to go back to Florida State because Florida State actually has a true freshman blocker at 6'4" in Gela Andrew. And I
Mm,
kid you not, it reminds me a lot of Carrie Walsh. Just
wow.
the way that she plays, really good lateral movement and reading. She's playing with Maddie Trusty at the twos and really big arm swing and a true
Wow.
freshman. And the only reason I really was cut onto her is because she is getting top nine on AVPs this last summer.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch list this one because
Yeah.
first year at Florida State and with Nick Lucena and Brooke Niles and Travis Rewarder as a coaching staff,
Yeah.
um, only good things are going to come about from that.
Totally. Another great coaching staff that's good at developing their players. I didn't know that she was getting like doing so well in the AVPs. That's really good for her. But also being on the twos as a freshman, I feel like is so good for experience wise. And she'll definitely get so much better from playing in those close games and like probably learning a lot from her partner. Because Maddie Trusty, she's older, right? Like junior, senior, fifth
I
year.
never will call a woman old. I've learned that from
Like, like
like
older and like I'd
she's an
say I'm older
upperclassman.
now. Old upperclassman,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm an upperclassman now, which is so weird to me. But yeah, so getting that experience is probably so good for her, but that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I mean, they're young, and that's why I think all they got to do is get into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
and they're going to have or not years, but bunch of duels under the belt. They're going to have experience, and you know that coaching staff is going to get them mentally ready and physically ready. So,
Totally.
and then regarding Long Beach State, the twos, Julia Westby and Haley Carrington. The ones are Malia and Taylor. Everyone knows them because they've been crushing it their entire careers together.
Yeah.
Um, but it's their threes through fives have been taking care of business, getting the wins for Long Beach State, who's going to have a big test come that Best in the West weekend. It's going to have to
Yeah.
come up against you and the Stanford Cardinal.
Yes. Let's go Stanford Cardinal. Um, but yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like I talked about Long Beach State, but I feel like they have a lot of depth in their roster and like Malia and Taylor, I feel like all the one teams I feel like could go back and forth because all of them are so good. But even if they don't win their game, having the threes, fours, fives that can back them up, I think all team needs that, obviously. But that's really good for them. And I think their results have been like their hard work has been paying off in the results.
Yeah. Well, after seeing Taylor and Malia at the Laguna Open, I mean,
Yeah.
they were steamrolling through AVP teams.
Yeah, which is awesome. It's also good for them. I feel like they've played together so much. They run like such I don't even know if intricate's the right word, but they run like they have their own set of plays, like almost like their own set of communication that they use. And so like no one is able to like defend them. They run like really fast or they'll like spread it, which I feel like has also been
Mhm.
interesting to see like this year with beach volleyball. I feel like that's become way more common. Whereas in the past, like at least my freshman year, I remember like, okay, I'm gonna pass it and then I'm just gonna run it like right in front of me. Whereas now there's like more spread plays, way more people running like fake plays. And I think it's cool to see
Mhm.
like just how much beach volleyball has grown in that dimension, and how it's kind of like necessary now if you want to be a top team. And I think they kind of show that like Malia's a lot shorter, but like she still puts the ball down like every time because she runs all these plays and is able to just like shoot over the block.
Yeah,
Um,
she's so
totally.
surgical, and she
Yeah,
a lot like Kristen Nuss.
totally. Yeah.
So let's jump up to the seven and lower. Cal, your arch rivals. I was going to consider having you and Mary Lou on the same weekend, but you guys ended up facing each other for the dual deciding match. I'm like, probably not a good idea to do this one.
Yeah. No, Cal's a solid team though. I feel like they didn't lose anyone from last year. Like Cal's
Yeah.
always in there, and I feel like they have a pretty consistent lineup, like the same one as they did last year, pretty similar. The team I played was obviously Mary Lou and Alex, super solid team to be at the threes. I know they maybe had played in the twos a little bit last year. I know Alex was up
Mhm.
there. I'm not sure where Mary Lou was, but I was most impressed with their ones pair, Portia and Emma Donnelly doing so well.
Yeah.
Great team, great chemistry. I actually played them in like a USA qualifier tournament. I played with Clara, who's our fours blocker, but we ended up losing to them. Whatever. I hate losing, but they were really good. I was really impressed with them, and I was like, okay, wow, like I'm definitely gonna look out for them this season. And then they're on the ones, and they're beating really good teams on the ones. So I'm
Mhm.
really impressed with them.
That was that the Norseka event,
Yeah.
playing some zonal thing,
Yeah, it was like I think maybe U23 Norseca, something
and it
like
was in
that. They
Hermosa.
won it.
Just
Did they win it?
yeah,
Yeah, I think they
yeah,
won
they
it.
did win it.
Yeah,
So I remember like, oh, good for them, and that's where they really land on the radar because I
yeah,
saw Emma in the fall at the Manhattan Pairs Championship qualifier, but she had a taped up hand.
yes,
So I'm like, oh, that's a big loss. So she's like, oh, I'll be back. It's just healing whatever it was on her thumb.
yeah,
So
Yeah, so they're definitely a team to look out for. And then also their twos is Sierra Caffo and then Gia Fisher. Gia's been playing
Yep.
so well. I was watching her. And another really solid twos team. Like could go either way, I feel like with a lot of teams. And so and then on their fives, they have Ella Drapelt, who's like the most she just got the like most winningest
Yeah.
first all. So and she's on the fives. So it's like they have a
Yeah.
lot of
Great
depth.
fives. Ella
Yeah.
Sears, Ella Jables.
Yeah, like a really good fives team. So yeah, I feel like Cal definitely should be a team to look out for as well.
All right, let's go to what I think is going to be the toughest ones. That's the sixes all the way to the ones. You have
Okay.
Cal Poly. I'm like, are they going to be able to burst that five bubble? Last year they finished the highest they've ever finished in the program's history. Um, but the teams have gotten better. There's more experience, and some teams are still trying to find their way in the top five. But as you were saying earlier, Coach Todd Rogers is able to get 200% out of the players he coaches. And
Totally.
I mean, he has the current reigning players of the week now in Izzy
Yeah.
Martinez and oh no, Logan Walter. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly it's interesting to me that they're at six because I think going into the year, like before we had played any games, they were above us. I think they were like 4 or 3 and we were five. I think it's because LMU like took someone's spot like up there. But Cal Poly, like another really good team. I mean, Aaron and Piper super consistent at the ones, and then Logan and Izzy at the twos. And then I saw that Ella Connor and Lindsay Sparks are playing now at the threes. I was interested that Ella Connor was defending at the fours. I was
mhm.
like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't know. I saw that she was defending. I was like, interesting. I wonder if they're going to keep that. And then I saw this past weekend she was blocking for Lindsay at the threes, which is another team that has a lot of good chemistry. They've played a lot together. So that's a really solid threes pair for them. Also considering Ella was at the ones last year,
Yeah.
has experience with that. So that's a really experienced threes team for them.
Well, Piper First like went up 3 levels this last summer. Got to see her at the Manhattan Beach Open because her and Lindsay
Yeah.
actually took on the A team,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Alice or Piper didn't care. She was
No.
ripping the ball.
No, Piper's awesome. She's like, I love her as a person and also as a player. She's like shorter for sure, a shorter blocker, but she jumps so well and has such a good hit on her. Like it's almost as if she's like 6'3", 6'5". Her block timing is like so good. I feel like shorter blockers, not that I know anything about blocking, but if I was a shorter blocker, I would watch her.
Well, let's move on up. You can reveal as little as you want about your own team. But I mean, to me, ever since Charlie has been on the show, Stanford has been on the up and up.
Totally.
And they're always like, they started in high teens, and they're consistently in the top seven. So
Yeah.
Andrew's doing a phenomenal job, and he's getting some really good players. And you look at your freshman class last year, and it was amazing. You brought in another high flyer in your, do I say former partner? We don't know yet. Avery Jackson. I saw her at the Durango Fall Classic in the indoor tournament, and she must have had 75 attempts with like 68 kills.
Yeah,
So,
she's insane.
but
She's
talk about the Cardinal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like ever since I got to Stanford, so I'm a junior now, so that was 2 years. I've been here. This is my third year. Our freshman year, it was like our first win in the NCAA tournament. We were like so happy about it. Like, yes, we won our first game. And then last year we were like, okay, like we're good. We're in the top five. Like we really have really good freshmen. I feel like our coaches have developed us really well. So then we kind of were like, we know we think we can win it this year. And then losing to LSU in that same, like the second game, was tough, but we were like, okay, we're gonna come back and kind of prove to everyone like Stanford's a team that needs to be on the radar and that is really good and it's like our time now. Um,
Mhm.
so this year, kind of in preseason, like I feel like we have a lot of really good players. Our team has the most depth I think it's ever had. Um, Another set of really good freshmen. I think our recruiting has been so good because our freshman class last year, like four of them played. I'm not
Mhm.
maybe. And then this year we have like a good amount of freshmen playing as well. So I'd say overall we're a pretty young team, but with that, I feel like comes a lot of girls who are really excited to just be out there and be playing. So yeah, I love my team, and I think we're on the up. I feel like we've been kind of quiet. We haven't really been talked about, but I know we have it in us to make some waves.
We had a great weekend. You didn't even drop a point at all
Yeah.
at your invitational.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for us. We were trying some new things with our lineup, kind of switching things around, and yeah, it went well. It was great.
Yeah, I was actually kind of shocked I didn't see you with Avery at the threes. I was like, wait, oh, but she's playing. That's important, right?
Yeah.
So, but a good shuffle up there. We're talking about USC and breaking news as we are getting ready for our recording. We got the results and upset. TCU getting revenge from the earlier loss to SC at a Palm Community College in Florida, I believe. I don't have the name off the top of my head, but USC. What do you know, and what have you seen? Obviously, because you've already played them. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've played them twice. USC, I feel like it's so hard to speak on USC at this point of the season because I feel like they always are really good at the end. And that's something they're like really good at, their coaching staff. Like they try things now. They like move up their lineup a lot, kind of trying to see like who plays well with who. I think they have their ones and twos pretty much figured out. I think those
mhm.
have been pretty consistent, but with the other pairs, like who's on the fives, who's on the fours, I think they switch it out a lot. So and like it's not like they just switch out the pairs, they'll switch out like the blocker. So it'll be like the threes
Right.
blocker with like the fours defender, which as a player, I think is kind of difficult sometimes, like playing with someone new. Like literally, I think they had like at least for one pair, it was like someone was playing with someone in this game, and then like 2 hours later, they had to play with someone else in the next game, which is probably good for like people to experience, but it's hard to do that in a competitive setting. So I think
Yeah.
that maybe could contribute to some of their losses potentially just because there's not a lot of consistency. But with that,
Right.
I feel like it'll help them in the end because they're gonna know like exactly who should play with each other and what their lineup should be. So never a team to count out. Good win for TCU to beat them. But yeah, that's my take on USC.
Well, today, so been what's been consistent are been have been the ones and twos. It's been Maddie White with Zoe Henson, and then Ashley Pater and Kennedy Coakley. I apparently, and if I got this wrong, I apologize ahead of time. But I was trying to skim through everything. Zoe Henson and Maddie White beat the Spaniards today. Uh,
Really good for them.
so I'm trying to go through the news articles as we're talking here to see what the results were. But we know that USC took the first two, and then TCU closed it out in the final three matches. So exciting way to go out.
Wait, so who played? Was it not 2-4-6? Was it? Because
Yeah,
then
I
when
don't
I
know
do the
how
two.
how the place is. It's a community college. Palm Beach State College is where
Okay.
it's at. So I don't know how the facility was like, but it didn't it didn't show the order yet. Like TCU doesn't have their release out yet, and
Okay.
USC's didn't indicate the order. So actually, you know what? As we were talking, the story came up.
Oh
I just
wow.
I
Yeah.
refreshed it.
Yeah, I'm curious. So the ones won for USC?
Let's see. Oh, the ones was a non-factor. It was done. It closed at the fives. So order of finish was two, three, four, and five. So TCU's Daniela Konstantinova and Aneta Namike, which are, I guess, the two Latvians, were playing together. So that's a new matchup right there.
Wow.
They ended up winning it in the twos and threes. Coakley and Pater won against Gonzalez and Hamlet. And at the threes, they might not have this correct here. Well, regardless, it was done before the number ones finished, but Zoe Henson and Maddie White ended up defeating them. It was a three setter, 15-10 in the third. So,
Oh, good for them. Yeah. I feel like that the TCU ones, like obviously they went to Olympics. Like they're so good. But I feel like because they're so good and kind of a team that seems unbeatable, it's making teams want to beat them more. Like I know the UCLA ones have beaten them twice. And then for USC to just beat them, that's like so awesome. And like so much credit goes to that TCU team because like they have a target on their back for sure. And
Yeah.
I think they've done a pretty good job, but obviously losses are going to come. So that's really good for Zoe and Maddie. They're a really good team. So I'm
Oh
surprised,
yeah.
not really surprised, honestly. I could,
Surprised but not.
yeah, like, yeah,
Well, it's interesting because FIVB Yucatan is going on, and like for instance, Juliana Paletti of LMU is
Mhm.
playing at the fives with Tannen Rosenthal. She
Yeah.
left today to go play there. I thought for sure that
Oh,
Danny and Tanya would have gone to play in that FIVB.
interesting. Yeah, that five team for LMU is so good. Them being at the fives was like crazy to me, but it makes sense because their lineup is so deep. But
Yep.
I remember in Hawaii they like didn't lose a set.
Yeah. Well, they were the player of the week, I believe, in the
Yeah,
WCC.
yeah. I was like, that makes sense because they're doing really well. Are they
Well,
undefeated? Do you know?
who the that five, I
Tanning.
think they have a loss, I believe. Let's look that up really quick here because they're at the fives and they are still one of the top pairs. Yeah, they're 12-1. I think their
Wow.
only loss was to, interestingly enough, Long Beach State, Demi Wagney and Megan
Wow.
Widener. And that was back
Megan
on March
Miners
8th.
on the fives?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, I
Interesting.
think Megan has now moved up there. That pair is now higher up in the
Okay.
Long Beach. So maybe Mike Campbell made an adjustment just for the
Yeah.
matchups.
Yeah, maybe.
If you guys are watching on video, you saw the face that Kelly made. For those on the podcast, you missed out. Go back on the YouTube.
Oh, that's funny.
But we talked about USC, TCU since they just played, but that leaves two remaining teams. And actually, we kind of touched on LMU, but they're doing some great teams, and they are an older team.
Yeah. I was so impressed with them in Hawaii. Um, like I feel like they're always kind of not like quiet, but I feel like they're kind of like they're not really like showy. They're not super loud, but they're very
They reflect their
consistent.
coach.
Yeah, yeah. And like John Mayer is an awesome coach and like I'm not surprised that this program is doing so well, but like they're super consistent and like they know where to put the ball. And honestly, like at this point, that's the most important. But I was super impressed with them when I saw them at Hawaii and also like they're consistently beating good teams. So I think them being at two is extremely valid and makes a lot of sense. I also think it helps that most of their team, I think it's like junior, senior, fifth year, and then like
Some grads,
some
the
grads.
grad in there.
So that definitely helps a lot too. A lot of international players as well. But yeah, I've been really impressed with them, and I think they're like definitely. I think like LMU as a team has always been like up there of like pretty consistently good, but this year I think they took it to the next level.
Yeah, good point though. They're strong, and looking at them, their maturity shows deep into sets and deep into the duels. If it's on the line, you're gonna have to go
Yeah,
LMU's way.
totally.
Um, that leaves UCLA. Actually, we should mention LMU is 17-1, UCLA is 19-1. They had all the first place votes, I believe, this week. So they were at the East versus West this last weekend, and they were good. No one was surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I was super impressed with them because like they lost a lot of players last year. Like they lost a lot of fifth years, a lot of people that were in their lineup. And like
Hmm.
this year, I feel like a lot of the players are newer, like freshmen at the ones. They have like freshmen playing, some redshirt sophomores playing. And I think that
Hmm.
just shows like how much depth UCLA always has. Like, and they're probably like so excited to be out there and play because like they probably like watched last year either they didn't get the
Yeah,
chance to play because they had like older, more experienced players.
play
And
behind Lexi Denneberg.
yeah, like you're not gonna play over Lexi. And you could be really good, but you're not gonna play over her because she's
Yeah,
like
Deb
insane.
Newberry. I play
Yeah,
behind Deb
Devin,
Newberry.
Jaden, like they're so good and they've been there for so long. But I think that's like they were able to help these newcomers like show them kind of how UCLA beach volleyball works and like probably the morals of the program.
Mhm.
And seeing this UCLA team now, like they're young, but I think they've done such a good job with being consistent. And yeah, I'm really impressed with them and like all of their pairs, honestly. Like I know specifically at the fours. Kaylee Matthews was subbed in Hawaii and did so well, like so awesome. She hadn't played, she
Mhm.
redshirted last year, I think, and then this is her first year like actually being in the lineup, but her and Alexa Fernandez are doing so well. The threes team, the UCLA threes team, they're my two losses. So but I'm like so impressed with them. They've been doing so well. Ensley has been playing like insanely well. Same with Kenzie. I played her a lot last year on the threes, but seeing how much they developed, I feel like, into this year is super impressive. And I think Jenny's done a really good job with that program. But yeah, I'm not really surprised at how well they're doing. And UCLA, I feel like I was kind of getting deja vu of last year. Like they're always at the top. I feel like USC goes into it because they win the national championship, and then UCLA always knocks them off, and then they're good throughout the whole season. So I'm just excited to continue to see like where they go from here, and how consistent they can keep on being. But they've done a really good job so far, especially with having a lot of young players.
Well, they got something special going on in Sally Perez,
So
a
good.
freshman blocker playing at the ones, and her and Maggie Boyd won the AVCA Fall Pairs Championship. But you could see it even in the fall that they had dialed in. I'm surprised they have that one loss on the season, honestly,
Yeah.
because I mean, Sally is just a really good instinctual blocker.
Totally. She's big. She's tall. She reads well. She has really good style. Also, I bet it helps a lot being a freshman playing with Maggie, who played on the ones as a freshman herself, played with Lexi, has that experience in like close and tight games, and now she's able to like kind of help guide Sally through it.
Mhm.
I think that's like a really strong ones pair, and also like they go to three a lot, I've noticed. And they always pull it out in three, which probably has to show that they like, I don't know what happens in the sets they lose, but they're obviously probably still working things out and like getting more connected. But the fact that they're able to pull all these games out in three just like shows how good of a team they are overall.
Well, I had to go in and look, and their first losses in Hawaii to USC, but get a load of the scores. 21-6,
Yeah,
24-22.
crazy. Yeah, like what? Yeah, I remember against like GCU when they were here last weekend. GCU took them to three. I think like UCLA maybe crushed them the first, I don't know the order of the sets, but it was like UCLA crushed them and then GCU crushed them. And then in the third set, they ended up coming out on top, but they're really good at the three setters.
Yeah. Well, the only other loss was from this last weekend at East meets West, and Parker Bracken and Gabby Bailey of LSU were playing out of their minds, 15
Oh,
13
wow. Wow.
set.
They beat them?
Yeah. So,
Okay,
I mean, that
interesting.
was the big news. That was the one point. But like I said, LSU was battling at every single court, and
Yeah.
this one just happened to go their way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So, wow, Kelly, that's a quite the breakdown there. Eh, first episode back.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I see, I know all these people so well. I'm around them all the time and I'm always around beach volleyball. So I'm like, I'd love to share what I see.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know if I should go this way. If I should have you pick your top three pairs or just your top three athletes, what
Um,
what are you in the mood for? Because I've got a couple myself, and I like to create the graphic to acknowledge some people who,
okay.
you
I'll
know,
do athletes. Just
okay.
because pairs, like, they always get switched. Like, you don't know. I'm gonna start off from my team, and I'm gonna say Avery Jackson. My partner, she's so awesome. She's super athletic, and I think she has a really special competitive like energy and edge that kind of sets her apart from others, considering she's a freshman, but she's super like confident in her play. And I've never seen anyone hit the ball harder than her, honestly. Like she gets up so high and then hits it so hard. I'm like, how did you just do that? I can never do that myself. It's like really impressive. Like it's insane. If anyone like wants to see someone hit the ball like straight down who's not that tall, like you should watch her because her
Mhm.
arm strength is like so powerful. So I'm gonna say her. And
Yep.
then I'm gonna go from UCLA. I'll say Ensley Alden. She I think has just been playing so well. Her shots have been like as a defender, I mean I play her, but as a defender, I feel like usually I'm able to get a pretty good read on people. Her, I just have a hard time with. I think she's been like super consistent and her shots are like right in the corner. And I know she played
Hmm.
on the fives last year. I don't know what happened her freshman year. I don't know if she played or maybe she redshirted, but seeing like how much better she's gotten. She also has a really hard swing herself. So she has the shots and a hard swing. And I think that's like two things that you really need as a beach volleyball player. So I'm impressed with her and how she's been doing this season. And then for my last athlete,
Tough
maybe
one.
I'll go with Ashley Pater. When I saw her
Okay.
play, I think I played against her in Hawaii. But when I watched her play against TCU when they were the
Mhm.
deciding dual point for that, she played so well. And I feel like whenever she got the ball, she was able to like put it in a spot where the other team was. Like they were down maybe by like 1 point in the third set. It was like they were down maybe like 14-15, and she got a dig, like jumbos it like into the corner. And I was like, wow, that's really impressive. And I feel like she's helped Kennedy a lot, like with that partnership, like giving her confidence and being like, no, you should want the ball. So I think she's been playing super well. Yeah.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna throw mine down because those are all great ones, and
Okay.
this could be a record. 4 weeks in a row, I'm gonna mention this person's name, but
Okay.
how can you not when her team is 17-3 or 17-2? Let me just confirm 17-2. Perry
Wow.
Brennan and Natalie Miskowski.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about them, but then I was like, I already have someone from UCLA. So I wasn't gonna say that. But yeah, they're so good. Perry's awesome. Natalie's really good and consistent. So I like that pick.
Which, by the way, I came across a Dane Selznick who forwarded a training group picture, and you were in it
Yeah,
with
we all train
with like
together in the summer.
I'm like, dang, that is a pretty gnarly training group.
No, it's a good group. It's like I don't even know who's all in it, but all of us from like it's also fun because you get to know each other. Like beach volleyball is so competitive, and like whenever I play someone, I'm like, I don't like you. Just on the volleyball court, obviously. You have to, right? Like you have to. Um, but then like when we're outside of like competition mode and we get like practice together, like everyone's honestly so
Mhm.
great and awesome. Getting to know each other and like learn from each other just by playing together is super cool and fun. So it's a really Danger has a really great group.
Now, was that in Laguna or is that up in Santa Monica? I couldn't, he
It
didn't
was
tell me.
actually at like Marina del Rey.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
right, it wasn't that far from my house, honestly. Like it's, do you know where Tanner's Coffee is?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like, right there, right at the beach there.
Well, I mean, that I was surprised. I was like, that's your training group, Dane? He's like, yeah, it's pretty competitive.
It
So he
is.
took great pride in it. As
Yeah.
he should.
Yeah. Shout out Dane because he got all of us together and it's really good training.
Yep. Another person I think I mentioned already, Gela Andrew. Like I
Yeah.
said, caught my eye AVP last summer. I'm like, whoa, she's going to Florida State. And I guarantee you, they're going to be pressing the 1-2 spots these upcoming years in her career. Um, Maggie Rabich. I slightly referred to her, but her pair only has one loss in the season. But watching her as a defender, I don't know what it is this year. I've just been really enjoying seeing what defenders are doing, especially when I get to like watch from an end line, seeing the moves they're making and
Yeah.
looking at the blocker and adjusting and making those last second moves or letting the attacker see where they're at and then make that jab step and go the other direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what you do, Kelly. I'd put you on there, but I didn't get to see your matches this week, so I can't
No,
really tell.
no, no. I don't deserve to be on there this week. But yeah, I mean, I remember watching her at Washington and she was really good. And then I saw that LMU got her as a transfer and I was like, that's definitely gonna help LMU a lot, and it clearly has. I haven't gone to see her specifically play that much, but I know just some background on her that she's a very good player, so I'm not surprised.
Yep. My final one will be Katie Hashman of Texas playing at the twos. There's some matches on the line and talk about hitting the clutch button.
Yeah.
Came up with some big points at the deep into the late third sets and second sets to get the wins for her pair. So Katie Hashman of Texas.
Yeah, I like that. I also want to shout out Chloe Charles from Texas. She's awesome. She's playing at the ones. I saw her doing so well, and like I'm biased because like I'm friends with her, but I saw her doing so well and I was like, oh, I'm so happy for her because I know she works hard and like her doing so well at the ones against these really good teams is like really cool to see. But I like the Katie Hashman pick. I agree with that.
All right. Well, Kelly, I want you to pump your program. What's up next for the Stanford Cardinal?
We have the Death Volley Invitational, so we'll be going to LSU and playing
Like
some.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're off this weekend. We're off this weekend. It's finals week here, so
You're
Stanford.
not doing the Girls Gone Wild on like spring break, are you? I'm gonna keep an eye
No,
on.
we have finals. We're
Oh,
locked in over here. It's finals week, so we're going to be focusing on our academics and then our volleyball. But then next Wednesday we leave for LSU, and I'm super excited for that. I had so much fun at that tournament last year. It's also nice because we're on spring break, so we have no homework. So I'm excited to spend time with my team. But yeah, it'll be great. Play some good teams, and I can't believe we're already halfway through the season, but I'm really excited for what's to come for me and my team.
and just so everyone knows, because this Death Volley Invitational is a big deal, it's going to be on Volleyball TV. If you don't have a subscription, actually, I think LSU's arranged it so it may be free to watch on VBTV.
Wow.
Every single duel, every single match. Because if you've been to Death Volley, 5 courts, scores flying all over the place, athletes
Yeah.
all over. It's such a great setup. Mark Sherman, the AVP and Olympics MC host, will be there. So it'll be an exciting event.
Yeah.
I will be in Austin, Texas this weekend for the East meets West. And, you know, I just was supposed to be at one complex, but it turns out they're going to have 2 complexes running simultaneously. I will be at the one where Texas will be at. I believe Grand Canyon will be there, LMU, Florida State, and I'm LSU. LSU will be there. So they will be streaming that through Texas UT TV, but I'm pretty sure it's at no cost because they really want to get the program out there and people seeing what's happening in Texas. So,
Nice. That'll be so
well,
fun.
Kelly, it's been great having you back on. We'll always take you back on as long as you're cool, but I get it. I understand the highly competitive year, and
Yeah.
we know the MPSF, which is a conference that you guys are in for this is the first season, is going to be crazy, and I mean it's going to be highly competitive. It's the NCAA tournament. We did a Q&A, had the 2 other athletes, and Sydney Miller from Hawaii and Kylie Wakely of Texas pick topics, and Sydney picked the NCAA championships. I did not realize that they eliminated the play-in game. It's a 16 teams this year.
I didn't know that
So,
either.
but I still have not been able to find any documentation except for what was on Wikipedia.
Oh, interesting. Weird. I wonder if she has an inside source or how she knows that.
Yeah, so we'll see. But Kelly Belardi, Stanford, good luck on finals and appreciate the time this evening.
Thank you. I had so much fun. Love to be on this podcast.
Thanks for listening to College Volleyball Weekly. Be sure to follow Rob Aspero at the Rob on the Mic on Instagram and at Rob on the Mic on Twitter.